Look at Zevahim Daf Amud Aleph 26 lines down. For Rumi ear, according to Rumi ear. First word in the line is Ema. Hi Terefa Ma'avile. We already explained what review that does with the word Terefa. What does Rumi ear do it? The word Terefa when it talks about dead birds. Marsim Ibarle Ma'utish Haitash Lifim refers to excludes the case that if a non-Hekdesh bird was slaughtered through a knife into the Hatzer, there's no Tuma, even though there was no Milika. The Gemara says, Review that has to be done another. Terefa, Hanik didn't know the word Terefa mentioned. Okay, Vermeer, what did you do with the second terefa? had موتي شيء تشهيد الفيلم had موتي of tema. The second one is the first one is what we just said now. Second one is to exclude the case of a dead bird, non-kosher bird, that there is no tuma when eating it. Gemara says, Rebbe, how does Rebbe know that? Min nevela nafkalei, just from the word nevela. Nevela means that it's regular tama, not eating tama. Where it says, Rebbe Meir Mahai nevela ma'avid, so Rebbe do that word nevela. The she'ora achila kazayit teaches you that the minimum amount to eat is considered is a kazayit. That's the minimum. By saying eat nevela means minimum amount of eating, which is kazai. Why do you need that pasuk to teach me that? It says earlier eating. You already know the minimum. Where it says had the shiur achlak kazai, it's teaching you the minimum is kazai. Had the shiur achlak the process is teaching you that you need to be eating it in the amount of time to eat half a loaf of bread, a few minutes. So it teaches you that you have either one. I mean, it has to be both eating it within a certain amount of time and eating a certain amount. So I mean, how you would have thought maybe think the concept of eating to getting to ma by eating is a hidush. You're telling me that maybe even if he eats it longer than a certain amount of time, he should also be tamek. Therefore, it has to be both within a certain amount of time and a certain amount of kizait. Number nine, the halib nibila, the halib terefa says in the Torah, the halib nibila, the halib terefa can't eat it. The halib behema Torah, the pasuk sound like talking about halib of a kosher animal and teaching you that even if it's the nevilah, there's no tum'ah by a halib. Or it says, oh, I tell me by halib and oh, yeah, let it be halib because it's not a kosher animal. Amarti, you could say the Torah says it's very tahor, which means it's slaughtered correctly, and the Torah also already says tahor from things that are chalib. Just like when we said tahor refers to slaughtered animals and therefore not non-kosher animals. So regarding halib as well, he's referring to not kosher halib, not non-kosher halib. Mar says, oh, because it look the opposite way. Tiher mechal nevilah v'tiher mechal nehalib. When it says tahor, we've seen it by Nevilah, we've seen it by Halib. Just like when Torah said tahor from Nevilah, it also said in the case of non-kosher animals. Maybe also when it says Halib, it also refers to non-kosher animals. All right, so how do we look at it? Is this included halal of kosher or non-kosher? The Gemara says amar. Therefore, you have to say kisheba b'derech zu he b'torah. When you're following this way of thinking, the Torah is talking about a kosher animal. Kisheba b'derech zu tima. When you look at the second line, we're talking about non-kosher animal. The Gemara, therefore, the pasuk says terefa mentions specifically terefa. Mi sheyesh b'minat terefa. Only those animals that terefa applies to, like we said yesterday, which is only kosher animals. So I'm excluding non-kosher animals because there's no terefa. But then I'm not also excluding wild animals. Because there is terefa. Tomorrow the pasuk says, you should not eat it. Which teaches you, it's not a case where the halal is asur, but the meat mutar. Which means, yes, which excludes the wild animal, you're able to eat the meat and the halal. Right? Only domesticated animals, the halal is asur. Where it says, Bar Abba de Rava. If that's the case, with the Torah saying that anything tahor is from Nevilah, Nevilah behemah Torah who didn't tameh, is it only the case of a dead kosher animal that it's tameh? Nevilah behemah tameh lo tameh, but not a Nevilah of a kosher of a non-kosher animal is no tameh. Maleh kama sabeh shavitu bach. He says, I'm so surprised how many rabbis like you made this mistake. Sefa atan nivlat of tameh. Second case, where it's talking about a case where it's a non-kosher dead bird, not a non-kosher animal. And that's why. Okay. Marbi Yochanan. Lo tiher b'meir ela bet tmeitmin. Meir said that the bird animal that died is tahor only if it's a no moon. Aba ba'al mumin, lo. But if it's a moon, then it's not tahor if you did milika because it wasn't kasher to be brought on the korban. But there's I feel ba'al mumin. It says no, even the moon. Why? It's manami amar v'sim b'rabal hazar. Meter meir. Only moon birds, according to the mayor, but even a geese or chicken, because they're also not able to be brought on the beach, they all have tumah. Okay. بعمل يا عارف عايز ما what if you did عريفة on a goat, right? So usually you do egla arufa on the calf. In the case of a dead guy between two cities, you take the calf. The city is closest, the hachmim kill it. They decapitate it. Now, what if you did a goat? Is that nevila or not? Why do we say geese and chickens are if you do milikat doesn't work and there is tumma? The mina dofu maybe because they're still birds. Otherwise, lav mina de lahu goes on like a calf, and therefore it should have tuma. Odilma mina b'me'ahu, maybe since this is type of another animal, it's not like it did already found a bird. If we're kasher, the Gemara says etiva dimi v'kamar lahalash mata amar le bay lechad agla rufa tehorahi. You're saying wait, that means you're telling me that the agla rufa is tahor? Yes, I'm ready to be tonight. Kapara ktiba b'kodesh. It says the word kapara. They get forgiveness through the animal, just like the word by kochim. And just like kochim is tower, so too over here. Where it says mativla, v'achal lo tochlu. The pasuk says by the halib of a you should not eat it. And the elah halib ja'al subach mutar. I only know this from halib that is a sword for eating, but mutar for benefiting. Halib shashar niskal ve'aglav of. And how do you know that the thing would apply by the halib of an ox that was had to be stoned for killing somebody, or a glarufa, the decapitated calf, which is a source of benefit. Also, when Martha says call halab any halab. Visa and if you would have thought a glarufa torah is because if it's tahor, he tahora behalab. What would be the half mean? The dead body is tahor, but the halab tameh. Martha says hechad araf me'aref lo yisich. No, in the case where they did arifa on it, they already decapitated for sure. It's tahor. You don't need to prove it's tahor. Ki yisricha, when is there necessary? Let's say he accidentally slaughtered it instead of decapitating it. I said, okay, that's the case. Let this slaughtering work as purifying from Nevilah. I said, "La tzricha shemeta." Okay, so no, fine, you didn't slaughter it. Let's say it died without arifa or shechita. Where it says, Michal de Machim Lasur, does that mean that the calf is asur even for benefit while it's alive? Where it says, yes, Amar bi Anai, Gevu Shmati Shahati. I one time heard a very important point about the Glauruva, and I forgot it. Then Asbin Havrat Lemimar, then the students in the Beit Midrash said, Yidatan Lahaletani Asata, the fact that it went down to the valley is what makes it asur. It's part of the process of the Glauruva, they bring the calf down to the valley. The valley that can't grow stuff. It's called Nahaletan because it's very hard ground and you can't grow anything there. And that's what makes it a sort of benefit even while it's alive.